Another pick a stack reading, and this time it's a little bit different. I'd like to make a video sort of focusing on you and what Spirit may have as a message for you when it comes to you. And sometimes we can sort of tend to like know certain things about ourselves, but then sometimes it kind of, you know, things happen and we forget. We can tend to forget. So let's see here what Spirit wants to bring to your attention here. We have a few of these millennial Loteria cards, and so I'm just going to shuffle these, and then we will pull on each of the little squares on the millennial Loteria cards, and let's see here again what Spirit has to focus. We'll be doing 5 stacks. So we have the stacks. Feel free to meditate. We have 5 here. And let's see. That's a little better. Kind of. These are the stacks, okay. Sorry guys. Okay. You know what? Let me actually, well, okay. I think that's fine. We'll continue here with this. So, what does Spirit want to remind you about you? So, we have 5 stacks here. Feel free to meditate on each of these stacks. And we'll pull one Lenormand card for each of these stacks as a further sort of signifier. And we'll also pull a tarot card. Also like to pull a rune for each of the stacks as well. And then I'll show you the inscription. This guy fell a little bit onto that 4th stack there. Okay guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's jump into it and see here. So the first, I'll flip these over so that you can sort of choose with just the signifiers. If you don't want to sort of see. This is what we're looking at. So stack 1, stack 2, stack 3, 4, and 5, stack 5. So we have the mountain in the first stack with the 8 of Wands, and we have this rune Uruz. It looks a little bit like a little ledge, like a little building. And we have the bear on the second stack with the Wheel of Fortune and Barcano. It's like a big capital B. In the third stack, we have here the cross and the Three of Pentacles with this little, it's a very jumpy rune. This is Sohilo, and it is a rune that is, it kind of looks like the lightning bolt strike on Harry Potter, just on Harry Potter's third eye. It kind of jumped onto the fourth stack, so I know. Book and Knight of Pentacles on the fourth stack with Ingwaz. And this looks like a little stitch. Fifth stack, we've got the Ways, also known as the Crossroad, and the Nine of Pentacles with Wunjo. Oops, this is very crooked. I'm just holding it up here for now. Wunjo, it's like a big capital P. So half of B, which we see in the second stack. Let's bring this back over here and get back into it. Now, what does Spirit want to sort of bring to your attention? Now I'm going to turn these over. Let's clear the energy around. Take a deep breath here. What does Spirit want to remind you of you? Okay. What I'd like to show you as well, the placards before we begin, in case it is also further helpful. 1, 2, 3, 4, and fifth stack. Okay, let's get into it. Let's clear the energy and ground. Let's begin here with the first stack. So I'll put these other guys to the side. Okay, stack 1. If you chose this stack, we have here the Millennial Loteria, and let's see here what Spirit wants to sort of bring to your attention about you. You know, what does Spirit maybe want to remind you of when it comes to you? Maybe some of your interests, your hobbies, or just general energy. I'm going to be channeling, so I'll just see what does come up and relay that to you. But we have these various sort of themes coming up on this Loteria. L, La, Gender Fluid, L, Yoga, La, Craft Brew, and these are general, and we're going to actually cast on top of this placard to see what Spirit specifically wants to maybe bring up, wants to say in relation to each of these. So La Craft Brew, L, Gentrification, L, Bad Hombre, L, Manscaping, L, Food Porn, L, Fuckboy, L, Gender Reveal, L, Vegan, La Succulent, La Thigh Gap, L Bird, L Gluten, La Flower Crown, L Participation Trophy. Now, something I also want to say, it's a little bit like sort of having a date with Spirit right now. Like, imagine that you're literally like on a date with, you know, the universe, your spirit guide. What would they kind of not tell you about themselves as you guys are getting to know each other, but what would they tell you about you? So let's begin here. And you did pull the 8 of Wands card. Clear around, let's clear the energy, the Mountain in the Lenormand deck, and Uruz, which is a rune here related to earth energy. So right off the bat, I'm seeing here there's a focus on earth energy and fire. There's also the number 8. 8 is a really strong number. This is related to things that you're able to carry out, sustain over time. That might be sort of like your character. Maybe you're somebody here who's very you know, in particular, you're very hardworking, maybe studious even, or these are things about you that are sort of, it's part of your character. I want to pull now the little Loteria stamps and cast them on top of this little placard. Spirit wants you to know. Okay. Wow, I'm just getting this like vision, this idea. Here for some of you, like I'm just getting the vibe that you want to start some sort of business maybe of your own. For some of you, it might have to do with food, something related to, I'm almost getting like Taurus energy here. Yeah, some of you, you want to maybe even like kind of have like your own space, like maybe your own venue, like maybe a cafe. Some of you maybe even want to start like a little like actual maybe shop or something like that. Little succulent coming through. I see it as almost like a little like nook or like a little space, like something maybe even related to like design. We do have Taurus, again, Venus energy here coming through. Something with design for sure for some of you. Maybe you even want to start like some sort of space where a lot of different people can kind of come and gather. Maybe again, I'm getting even like a bar or a cafe, a coffee shop, like a tea shop. This is for some. Something here related to something related to food. I get that. Something social. Yeah, we have the El Vegan card. We have El Food Porn being like the most sort of the bulk. Some of you here maybe even will find that that's a really lucrative industry for you, but of course this is a general video and always key to personal nutrition. But yeah, some of you, there's something related to even garden work. I see that. Maybe for example, you're very interested in doing like literally like maybe even landscaping. This is for some, but the 8 of Wands in the mountain, maybe even like real estate, something related to like physical places. And it can even be like maybe a retreat or making some sort of maybe how do we say renovation, like renovating even property. This is just what I'm seeing. You do have Uruz, which is related as well to land. So kind of interesting. I want to pull a few more. I want to refine this and see any other notes here that I'm getting. I feel like, yeah, many of you have like a really strong knack for being able to look at something and say, well, I feel like it could become like this, or, you know, like getting creative, like saying, wow, I feel like, you know what, like maybe this space could do well with something like this or like that. Maybe something related even to like consulting. I'm also hearing publishing. Okay, I feel like some of you, this is something that you haven't had direct involvement in, like maybe for example, like you've always wanted to start a cafe or a coffee shop or even a restaurant, but or even like a little store, but you never, like, let's say worked at a shop, worked at a store, you never really had like direct hands-on experience. This is possibly for some of you. Yeah, so that's what we're seeing here. I feel like the lifestyle that you're in right now is maybe very different from that which you're interested in getting into. Some of you have been more involved in something more physical. I think you had some experience here, but I see you wanting to maybe like kind of take it to the next level. Maybe you want to start your own company related even to the things that you have interest in. Like maybe even like a management firm related to something that you do have like even industry knowledge in. This is for some. I feel like you have dabbled in whatever this is, or you've researched it. Maybe, for example, you even have a Pinterest board, like going with whatever this is. It's actually pretty exciting. For some of you, there's definitely something related to even an actual farmer's market. Like maybe you want to start a little stand or something like that. That's what I'm getting. Interesting. Okay. So, I think that's about it, you guys. These back and get into the next stack. So thank you so much for tuning in to that stack, if that was helpful, interesting for you. Let's see. I think that's about it. Let's get into the second stack. Thank you for tuning in, you guys. We're here with the second stack. You know what? I do feel guided to just pull 3 cards for that first stack. Maybe this is like a sort of general energy advice. Anything else? Yeah, I feel like you guys have something that you've been, you've thought about a few times. Let's get into the second stack. Millennial Lotteria, welcome. So, if you were on a date with the universe, what would the universe not only tell you about themselves as they're getting to know you and you them, as you guys are getting to know one another, but what would they tell you about you? What would they remind you of about you? Let's go to energy and ground. We've got here La Flower Crown, El Vegan, El Brunch, El Acai Bowl, La Alexa, El Bird, La Dick Pic, oh my god, El Participation Trophy, El VR, El Hipster, La Selfie, La Feminist, La Craft Brew, La Bitcoins, L makeup tutorial, L prime. Interesting. Okay. Wheel of Fortune is the card you got as well. The Bear. And the Rune Berkano. Berkano is all about new beginnings. Wheel of Fortune is about destiny, divine timing. We have the Bear here. A very strong sort of, there's a very strong decision maybe here that you're about to make, or like you might be somebody here who has a lot of different interests, but you also do have the capacity to really, when you decide on one idea, I feel like you have tremendous capability to really go through with that and really pursue it and take it to the next level and carry it forward. Yeah, I feel like once you're sort of like you start a project, you're all in. Let's get here some little like Charnarellas on this Millennial Loteria placard. If you guys like this reading style, let me know. I'm gonna hit the like button. Ooh, we got one now. Some of you, I feel like you have the capacity to start like a lot of different kind of businesses. Whoa, this one landed right on L prime. Some of you here, and that's the number 11, some of you have like you have a good eye, maybe even for like business or things related to like buying, selling, opening up, again, like maybe some sort of shop even for some of you. This came through in the first stack, so there could be some overlap, but there's something here, like you're very independent. I see that. Maybe something for some of you related to fashion, design, buying and selling. It's like you know how to buy something at a really good price and then, yeah, get like a really good deal on that as a return. Yeah, so some of you here, maybe even, I'm just getting like Etsy vibes. Let's clear it around. Some of you very creative, very creative. I'm getting this vision, like some of you maybe want to do like wedding or event planning, like something like this is for some. Yeah, even like promotion or like, how do I say it? Like there's some kind of like event, maybe a very particular event. Maybe some of you like to plan events, like event planning, like everything though, like from designing, you know, the venue space to, you know, what kind of foods might be served there, music and things like this. Maybe even photography, promotions, designing like how the whole event will go. This is what I'm saying. Somebody really skilled and talented at that. We also have one of these little guys landing straight on the lug craft brew. I feel like some of you are really good at like bringing things together, like bringing people together even, or resources, different resources. Let's clear the energy around. Bringing like, yeah, like for example, I know how to take that resource over there and then sort of combine it with this resource over here and sort of create some sort of space where we can really sort of build something out from that. This is very exciting, I feel, for some of you. Yeah, especially you have 2 landing on LVR. Some of you, it shows a little guy dancing. You guys know it's like, I think that you have some kind of really particular talent even, and it's like you can branch out from that in so many ways. Like maybe you can even combine that with many different things, the talents of others. But there's one thing specifically that you're very like, you have a lot of talent in. Again, I just keep hearing that. We have one landing on El Asibel. I see some of you are very creative. You can take something that like kind of has been done and like kind of reimagine it. Then we have here landing on La Feminist. Some of you have interest in even groups of people, like maybe you have a certain networking group that you are already involved in, or in a group of people that you've been really sort of involved in for quite some time. Maybe there is a focus on overlapping certain types of even products. I hear that things with I'm hearing even storytelling, something that you want to share, extend to a group of people. So let's see here. I'm gonna put them all out now. Yeah, I feel like you can even look at other people in their line of work and kind of even curate, like, or take what they're doing and maybe even reproduce it or even document it. Maybe you even would like to be like, let's say, somebody who does choreography. This is for something with dance, or you're like filming someone. I see that. Yeah, like photography, maybe even for businesses, like for Yelp or something. I'm just getting that vibe, like something where you're creating some sort of production from what others are doing. Can it be like filming music videos or something like that? All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get into the next. Oops, this one was just going along for the ride on El Craft Brew. I think like kind of how to like show people a really good time. I'm just getting that vibe, and yeah, you have some particular like talent or skill with that. And I want to pull just a few more cards out for you. I feel like there are things that you have a lot of knowledge about. Let's move into the third stack. Let's clear the energy around. Millennial Loteria, welcome if you chose the stack. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have the cross. Oops. The cross. We have Three of Pentacles. We have Sohilo. Now, what are we looking at? Some of you here are a writer. I'm just getting that. Something here related even to the occult, metaphysics. It seems like sometimes I feel like your mind is very intense and very strong. It's like you have the tendency to kind of get ahead of yourself sometimes. You have a lot of visions. Your imagination sometimes can kind of like get the best of you. This is just what I'm feeling a little bit with the Three of Pentacles, the cross. And Sohilo, I feel like you have a very strong imagination, and you would really like to apply that in a way that serves you, like where you've got, these ideas, but I think the context is really important. Some of you maybe are a rather sensitive individual as well. Let's look at your Loteria card. And okay, so the way I'm looking at this as well is kind of like, imagine that you're sort of on a dinner date with the universe, okay? What would the universe not only tell you about themselves, but what would they tell you more about you? What would they remind you of? We have El Tattoo, El Troll, La Bomber Jacket, El Vegan, El Participation Trophy, La Feminist, El Manscaping, La Alexa, El Gender Reveal, La Border Wall, El Floaty, El Latte Art, El Fuckboy, La Selfie, El Catfishing, La Student Dad. Okay, now the one thing that just jumped out to me here is the scorpion on the back of this La Bomber Jacket. Now you guys, this is not a tarot deck. This is not a tarot like card deck like traditionally, but I am getting that for some of you, you are very much into tarot maybe, you're into the occult. Some of you here are very creative. I see you wanting to create something visual or creative related to the occult. This is just what I'm getting immediately. Some of you may have a very strong Pluto, a lot of Scorpio energy. Let's get these little charm-marellas onto the placard. Some of you may struggle with like the sense of independence that you like to have when it comes to how it is that you interact with others. Maybe it's that you are even part of like a certain group or even something cultural, like you have maybe a lot of friends from a certain group, but then you also have your independent life. Let's see here. Wow. I'm literally looking at what I see because these have fallen all over this placard. The one thing I actually see is the number 44. For some of you, you're very much like, I see a star seed. Let's clear. You're a star seed. You guys are very deep, very sensitive, very creative. You have something here that you know is like even like your talent or your skill when it comes to your visual capabilities. Some of you are really visual, like you're able to imagine what can be of a space. I'm looking at the tattoo here that's uncovered. The one part though of it that's covered is the part that says El Tattoo. And yeah, some of you are very creative. It's also covering the stem. You guys have this like visual capacity. Maybe some of you are actually even like an artist or someone who does calligraphy, writing. Some of you are truly like even a craftsmith. I'm seeing that with the Three of Pentacles. Some of you, maybe you do like jewelry or you do something with your hands even. Let's clear it. Yeah, this is something I feel is like definitely like some talent that has been handed over from lifetimes. Some of you here, again, possibly a writer, an illustrator. Some of you are even like possibly a tattoo artist, but there's definitely a focus on the archetype of Scorpio and Pluto in general in your chart. It could be your Sun, Moon, Rising, your Venus, your Mars, your Midheaven, your Ascendant. Okay, let's get further. Let's see what else might be. Yeah, a lot to art. Literally, like you guys are very like, I feel like you have creative solutions to ideas as well. For some, I'm saying you might be interested in something like architecture or even like museums or like art deco spaces, like sort of setting up like some kind of installment, you know, something where you set up like pieces of even, I don't know, like furniture, or something where you're sort of creating like even a studio, but like like an art gallery. This is what the vibe I'm getting, and I'm hearing that. It's clear. I think you've questioned whether or not you want to be the one to do this, like if you want to be the one to so-called design this or whatnot, or if you want to kind of have others like around you in that space. You know, there could be this question like, do I want to be the artist, or do I want to like work with artists and create a space for artists, if that makes sense? Yeah, I think some of you are very sensitive, like you're not sure if you want to be, I think there's really a question for you when it comes to your actual, like, how you interact with in the space that you're interested in, maybe on a daily basis. Like, do you see yourself dealing with people on a daily basis? Like, would you want to, you know, or maybe even there's a question of wanting to be more hands-off or anonymous. For some of you, I do feel there's travel. I think there's a question about your environment and your lifestyle. Like, think about maybe the things that you would really, really, really want to create with, or to manifest with, as constituents to your lifestyle. So for example, let's say that you imagine yourself doing whatever in a certain field. What is around that? Like, what do you want your lifestyle? Let's just give an example. Let's say you do tarot, or you want to do tarot. Or let's say you're a writer and you want to do writing. Imagine that you're already those things. Imagine that you're already doing those things. What would you like in addition to that? Not just that thing, right? Not just like the field, the industry, the talent, the craft, but what would you like in addition to that for your lifestyle? Like, what would your lifestyle look like, sound like, taste like, feel like, that would be really fulfilling and very fully satisfying for you when it comes to sort of accompanying what it is that you would actually do? I think that's the question. Some of you possibly want to be like on an island. I'm just seeing that. Some of you want to be like in a really like different environment. Some of you maybe, you know, that might answer your question of like, because maybe you are imagining that, well, if I were to do this, then it would have to be in that kind of place, or in this kind of way, in that kind of space. But, you know, maybe there's some factor here, like, should you sort of change the manner in which you do carry this out, it might actually work very well for you. Yeah, we have L gender reveal. Yeah, maybe there's even this question of like, well, traditionally people in this industry would do things in this way, and maybe there are some norms that you realize, you know, if you were to really do this in your way, like you would do it differently. So L troll. So right now we have them landing perfectly on L gender reveal, L floating, and L troll. Let's clear it. And L manscaping. Some of you have a vision of something you'd like to do, but you have a creative way of doing it. And I think that you really want to make sure that if you are to, let's say, pursue this, maybe even for some of you, you want to carry this out in a very particular place, I feel like you want to make sure that it's perfect for you, like that's going to really be something that gives you a lot of satisfaction, a lot of passion, and is going to really, really supplement what you already do have a talent with. Maybe, for example, it's like, if you're going to move, you don't want it to be, you want to make sure that wherever you go will sort of be fulfilling you, in not just in terms of what you do, like your business or whatnot, but you in terms of how you feel as the creator of what you create, you as you, right, in a personality space, because we are not our jobs, we are not our careers necessarily, and if we do feel like we are, then, you know, we are our innovations, our creativity, our talent that is changeable. So where do you feel ultimately creative and innovative? Where do you feel like you can kind of like not just have to be one thing and one person in one way at all times? Let's clear it. Where do you feel like you can kind of be fluid, you know? L participation trophy as well. Love feminist. Yeah, I feel some of you feel that maybe there's this conventional energy, or you're worried like, should I not pursue this because everybody in this space like usually does this in this way or in that way. I feel like ask yourself what you feel you would want to change, what you wouldn't want to be stagnant about, whatever it is that you're doing in your life. And then, you know, how does that happen? How does that look in a physical, material, tangible way? Maybe how would that feeling of like, let's say I want to do this. I'm going to just give you the example once more of being a tarot reader or a writer, for example. I want to do these things, but, you know, I want to, let's say, feel like I'm not tied down to my tarot deck, or I'm not tied down to the place that I read at, or however, then maybe, you know, what is that factor that would come in that then would allow you that freedom, that sense of freedom? What would that place look like, you know, in your environment? So some of you, I think you want to be traveling. You don't want to be stagnant. This is what I'm getting. You want a lot of influence. Like, you want a lot of different ideas and sort of applications. You want a lot of stimulation. That's what I'm feeling. Yeah, like changes, because I see that you're a very interactive person and you're engaging quite a bit with your environment. So anything stagnating and stagnant is going to really sort of give you the sense of like, I'm just doing this and I'm just there and I'm just doing that, if that makes sense. For some of you, if this is like even a career move you're making, maybe you're choosing like even a major or whatnot in college or university, maybe you want to complement it. Maybe you don't want to do just one major. Maybe you want to do a few. Maybe have a backup. I'm hearing that as well. So yeah, I feel like your environment is really, really important to you. And you don't want to sort of just settle. I hear that as well. Yeah. Some of you really, I feel, are gearing towards being more independent even with your work. Maybe even, you know, you do want to have like different things that you accompany your work with. Even, let's say, if you are, I'm just gonna give the example again of being a tarot reader. You know, Spirit's wanting to make this like very clear. Some of you may already be a tarot reader. It's like maybe you want to change the environment. Like maybe you want to add a few more elements, maybe music, maybe sound, maybe like you want to change up the environment. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's like subtle things. I think you know like the core thing of what you're sort of interested in, but then there are these sort of subtle wavelengths that you want to kind of remember and tap into. So let's clear the energy and ground and see what else is coming through. Just do a few more here. I think that you're thinking about the material side of this, but not really. And I think that if you find the perfect so-called thing at the perfect time, it will just kind of happen. So this is a message as well. Let's get a few more last cards here for you. Yeah, I feel some of you, look, like it's really important for you to feel that you can really integrate with your environment and feel inspired, you know, like, so let's clear the energy around. Yeah, where you feel like you can also sort of integrate with others in that space and like bounce ideas around. Like maybe you want to be around like-minded individuals as well, or in a space where you feel that you can sort of be more open to communicating with others about what you are interested in, even, you know, or even like just sharing your ideas in around, how do we say, in an integrative way, in a more integrative way. So here we go. I'm also getting some of you are in a more quiet space, so maybe there's a stronger focus on interaction, communication, speaking. Let's get into the fourth stack. Oh, I'm also hearing London for some of you in that stack. Okay, Millennial Loteria, fourth stack. You guys, welcome. And we're just sort of imagining that you're on a so-called sort of, you're just having a dinner date with the universe, with spirit, and you're sitting there, you guys are talking. The universe is not necessarily telling you about themselves, though. They're telling you more about you. What is it that the universe wants to sort of remind you of about you? Let's clear it. Okay, you guys have the book and the Lenormand deck. You got the Knight of Pentacles upright. And we have Ingwaz, the rune. Okay, some of you here, off the bat, I'm getting that some of you may really enjoy having a structure and a rhythm, a schedule. Like you really like to sort of do things so well by the book at times, quite literally. What's jumping out to me here is the number 26. For some of you, it might be a focus number. It doesn't have to be though. For some of you here, it's like you're a little bit worried maybe about how you will take what you're doing already to the so-called next step, the next stage. For some, with the Knight of Pentacles, the book, and Ingwaz, you guys, I'm sorry, can you give me a quick second? Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so for some of you, you're a very like hard worker. I feel like let's clear the engine around. You work very hard. I feel though that you do have these sort of like, you have a rhythm right now going like with that, the structure, some even kind of schedule. Some of you maybe like you think, well, maybe I can change this about this. Maybe I can move outside of the way that I'm doing what I'm doing, or move outside of what I'm doing entirely. And you do have thoughts of that, but then at the same time, I think that you're very much like, you like to focus on what you've already created and move to the next step and stage. Some of you might have a lot of earth in your chart. Let's clear the energy around. You're actually very knowledgeable here. I see that, like, you have a lot of information, even maybe something that you've researched, you've studied, and you're thinking, how can I sort of move alongside this storyline? Some of you here are maybe a little bit worried about where things are going in terms of what you've already created. Some of you here maybe have studied something very specific, particular, like you've had a very particular sort of even upbringing. Maybe you have a degree in something and you're thinking, how can I sort of apply this? Let's clear the energy around. Yeah, you're like thinking, how can I sort of build off of this even? Millennial Little your cards are El Mason Jar, number 21. El Twitter, number 22. I feel like some of you also very maybe mathematic, like you have an interest in maybe things like engineering or these sorts of things. El Manscaping, number 49. El Uber, number 24. El Gluten, number 30. Literally Uber right there. Thank you. El Gluten, 30. El Man Bun, 31. El Fidget Spinner, number 32. You know, I'm also getting for some of you that there is this feeling though where you're like, you do think like, how can I make this though like my own kind of, you know? El Tinder, number 33. El DJ, number 39. El Coachella, number 40. I feel some of you, maybe you've got times you get into this little bit of this rut moment where you realize, well, I am kind of like good at this and I do this like pretty well, or I've had some sort of experience or history in this, maybe again, even a degree in this, maybe a certification, but like you still think, you know, that your lifestyle is a little bit, maybe a little bit imbalanced at times where it's like you feel like something is separate from something else in your life, if that makes sense. Like you feel like, well, I do this and then I have to do that. I go here and then I go there. It's not, there's something that doesn't feel integrated. Maybe, for example, you feel like your social life is very separate from your work life. A Flower Crown, number 41. El Fuck Boy, 56. El Catfishing, 48. El Web Design, 23. Okay, yes, Alexa, number 50. El Bird, number 51. So for some of you here, I feel like you've got probably a lot of Gemini, a lot of Aquarius, a lot of Virgo. Some of you maybe, for example, you know, you have one set sort of gig or some kind of even like plan. But at the same time, it's like maybe you're a little confused sometimes with how it is that it's all going to kind of come together. Maybe even, for example, you have like your hand in different sort of ideas. Some of you maybe are even like you have an app that you've developed. This is for some, or there's something that you're very innovative with, but you're for some of you, I'm getting you're actually a developer. You're a tech developer and you're wanting to like create something with that, but you've got like a lot of different ideas. You're thinking, well, should I be more traditional or should I be more creative, more sort of by the book or more innovative? Like, should I maybe create apps for others or should I create my own app? Should I do web design from, you know, there's this kind of questions. For some of you, I think that you're thinking about your social life though here for some reason, like in relation to that, because yeah, I'm thinking like for some of you that maybe you want a little bit, you're thinking about, do I want to be more independent or maybe do I want to work with a company? This is for some. Let's clear it. For some of you though, like I feel at times you feel a little disenchanted because you wonder if you're in the right space. Maybe there's even a focus on like doing something in person versus doing something online. Let's get some of these charm Morellas. Maybe some of you, your career makes you feel a little bit isolated. Yeah, I get that sometimes you're wondering like if this is gonna be like the end of the road with your career in within a certain space, but like in terms of what satisfies you, you know, like maybe you feel kind of like, well, I could do this, but should I do what I could do, or you know, is there something else? Like, yeah, I think you want to kind of make a brand for yourself even at a certain point. Wow, right there we have one of these little guys landing on El Tinder. Chills. Some of you maybe want to start an app. This is for some of you. Look, I feel like stack 4, you picked something maybe already that you're moving forward with in your life, and you're just at that point where you're like, this can't be the end of, like, this can't be the only thing going here, you know? This can't be it. El Coachella. Some of you possibly are very successful as well. I feel like you have interest here. I would really recommend to think about the things in your life that you've had interest in, maybe even over the years. Like, because I feel you're a very creative person. You have ideas, and so it's a matter of maybe implementing them and in your way, possibly. We have El Gluten. Yeah, think about maybe even things that you're kind of are personal to you, things that you've had personal experiences with. Maybe, for example, you want to even start like a program or a website or even something like this. So for some of you, I'm seeing travel is involved as well. Maybe you want to combine being virtual. Yeah, because for some of you, maybe your work is already online, but there is another factor to it. Like maybe, okay, right now it's online, but you're also like maybe living alone or you're at home alone, and you want to sort of accompany that with something else. Like, you still want to maybe be online, you still want to be virtual, but maybe you want to be traveling. This is for an example. Or there's something you'd like to start a business in relation to those things. Like maybe right now, like you're doing tech, but you're doing something kind of, no offense, maybe kind of boring. Like maybe you're doing like programming for something you're just not interested in. Maybe you want to program an app or a website that you have passion for, if that makes sense. You see what I'm saying? Maybe related to some cause that you're very passionate about. We have one also landing on catfishing. Some of you, there's something of like a platform here, maybe even like a social media platform that you're quite interested in launching. I feel like whatever you're doing right now, everything is sort of, maybe you want to do it simultaneously. You don't have to stop what you're doing now. I'm getting that as well. Yeah, some of you want to maybe even plan events or something related to something virtual. Yep. Related to something online, related to events. For some of you, I'm getting trading stocks or something like this. Some of you work in the service industry. Yeah, we again have El Twitter, El Manscaping. A lot of interest around DJ, Coachella, Gluten, Man Bun, Twitter. We do have something coming through El Fidget Spinner. I feel like you're possibly going to be and I'm seeing the Yod. I'm seeing a Yod in a birth chart, which is a very interesting alignment. I see some of you have something so specific, like it's a series of experiences that you've had over the years that come down to this point that you then create something very unique with, if that makes sense. So I feel like it's not like this or that, if that makes sense. Yeah, I feel like maybe even you might want to collaborate with somebody. Maybe you even met someone. It's like you want to start some sort of overlap gig with them. It can be. Okay. So let's get a few more cards here. Yeah, I feel like, look, you maybe even had this idea years ago, and you're just sort of getting close to how you're going to launch this eventually. Page of Swords, Three of Swords, and the Queen of Swords. You're getting close to how it is that you really see yourself launching whatever this is. So let's gather these. And some of you maybe, you know, once you get into something, you get kind of really into it. And for example, even if you work for a company or something like this, and you know, maybe you get like really good at it and then you're like, well, I don't want to leave. But I think that the question really is like innovation. And I think you do have a big next step, a big next stage when it comes to your self-development in your career. This is something that you create, something that but you have to feel it. So the timing maybe is very particular. So yeah, use your intuition with maybe things that you like to experiment with or things that you like to look into in terms of your career. And then, you know, that might sort of provide inspiration for what it is that you create personally. Let's get into the next stack. Let's clear the engine ground. 5th stack here. And again, I'm getting for the stack, possibly focus on finances, trading. Okay. Welcome, 5th stack. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's clear the gym ground. We're here for you. Millennial Loteria. What are we looking at? right off the bat, I'm getting something related to culture, getting something related maybe even to travel. Let's clear the energy and ground. Some of you here, wow, I'm just getting, might be a hairdresser that's just coming through. Okay, but before we get, you know, into it, this is sort of like imagining, let's say that you're on a date with the universe and you're one-on-one and you're talking about, share yourselves, but what we're really looking at here is a sort of reminder from the universe to you about maybe some things that you're interested in, that sometimes, you know, we tend to sort of, we might sort of feel distracted from our sort of life purpose, our goals, we feel it. Sometimes we might feel overwhelmed, like we don't know what the next step and stage is. Sometimes, you know, there are things that we're interested in that we want to circle back to. We have here the ways. This is the Lenormand deck. Crossroads is what it is also known as. 9 of Pentacles. Some of you are a collector, possibly a curator. Things you collect as you travel can be a focus. I feel some of you have a very refined taste. It could be in anything really. I mean, there's something you collect. For some of you, I'm seeing like music. Maybe you collect even trinkets, keys, take it as you will. That'd be a metaphor though. Maybe some of you travel a lot. You have a lot of memories. Some of you may have quite a bit of Sagittarius, very strong 9th house energies. Some of you have a career that you feel you're destined to pursue in relation to the archetype of the 9th house, Sagittarius, Jupiter. Some of you are maybe like very much a traveler and you like to also document your travels. We have Wunjo, definitely a very strong Jupiterian energy here for you. I see you being like, wow, I have a lot of things that I am interested in and it's a matter of me pursuing them. I feel like you're an adventurer, a darer. You want to sort of really explore, you know? Let's look at your millennial Loteria. We have L Twitter. Some of you are possibly even like a social butterfly type. L Web Design. L Uber. Some of you are very creative, like very, very. L Latte Art. L Vape. Some of you might be a social influencer. Maybe you feel like you have a lot of ideas for others and people maybe look to you as sort of like a guide. Like maybe you provide others with fashion guidance even, or again, like you're a curator, like you're able to sort of pick the best of a number of different things and say, well, this is what I think and this is my perspective, like almost like an advisor. But I see it as an influencer for some of you, or even possibly you have a marketplace with the 9 of Pentacles. Like this is something that maybe you plan, you create, you kind of cultivate. Even interest around, it could be marketing even, and then, you know, that sort of is extended to others, and I think that's very exciting. Like I think a lot of people, they value your opinion and they think that you're really kind of a really good guide. I'm even seeing like a food critic. This is for some. I'm even seeing like quality control a little bit with the 9 of Pentacles and the ways. Some of you here, it's related to the entertainment industry. I'm hearing blockbuster films. You might be a director, maybe you are even a manager, you hire, take it as you will. But there's something about cuisine, something about even like self-improvement. So L Vape, L Sushi, L Juice Cleanse, L Gluten. Yeah, I feel like you guys have a lot of information, even like maybe you're very well traveled, you've been in a lot of places, you have a lot of experiences that others might really sort of, they find you quite interesting and multi-dimensional. Yeah, they see you as very sort of curious. They see you as curious, and then I'm almost saying like an Anthony Bourdain sort of energy, like somebody here who has had a lot of different influences, and so maybe people come to you for advice or guidance, or they feel like you would kind of know what to do when. Some of you might even be like a travel agent or have interest in that. L Fidget Spinner, L Latte Art, L Floaty, L Internship, L Brunch, L Acai Bowl, L DJ, L Coachella. For some of you, I feel like, look, I get the sense that you do know you have a lot of experiences, and it can be for past lives as well. I do want to pull on that there really quickly. Spirit, can you tell me more about the 9 of Pentacles here? Yeah, some of you are wondering if you should sort of become more public with this. Some of you, maybe you've had experience and you're a little bit, I don't want to say traumatized, but there's something about the industry that is just maybe a little drama prone and you want to avoid it, but you know that you have talent in this. So there's maybe a crux of some kind here for you. Some of you want to, let's say, be involved in some industry or some space, but you just don't want what comes along with it, so-called. Maybe some of you have been in the limelight and you're not sure if that's like, you're not sure if this is like your ultimate sort of like passion. I think you don't want to think of it in terms of like limelight or, you know, the traditional sense of whatever this happens to be with the Nine of Pentacles. Like maybe you're very interested in some conversation here, but you don't want to be seen as something of that sort of character. How do we say, like, maybe for example, you're really great at, you're a skilled debater. Let's just give an example, okay? For some, I feel like you don't want to be considered like a lawyer or a politician. It's like, you know, or a diplomat. It's like maybe you're thinking, what is my home life going to look like? Should I do that? So maybe some of you know you have some sort of ability or talent. Possibly you're thinking of even acting. Maybe you're interested again in the entertainment industry, but it's like you don't want to be like famous or well known. Like you still want maybe your personal life. So maybe you're thinking like, what is the answer to that? Or some of you maybe are already famous and you're thinking, how can I be like more, what is the way in which I can sort of address my needs also on my own, where I'm not going to be so dependent on others, where you can maybe still have like a distinguishing of your personal space even and your personal values. Maybe you're thinking like of, you have a company or something like that here, and you're thinking, how can I create, like, how do I sort of pursue this in my own way? Like, where can I sort of apply what I've created in my own space, in my own way? I see you're questioning, like, you're kind of maybe averse to having like a manager or a producer or like a big record label coming and picking your work up. This is just what I'm hearing. I think you're thinking more of being independent, like, there are different reasons for that possibly. Maybe there's a question of, for example, like you don't want to sort of have to be on the road and like show up on tour exactly where someone else is going to expect for you to be, if that makes sense. So I see that you want independence here with the Ways and the Nine of Pentacles. This is very important for you because it's going to really affect you. Like if you, it's like the classic, like, oh, I love this sport until I join the team, you know, it's something like that. Like you don't want to, you don't want to feel that you're obligated. Maybe you have been at certain points in time, and maybe it is a past life energy. I feel like some of you, maybe, let's clear it, you're more private. You do want to be more private now due to certain experiences even. Let's clear it. Yeah. Some of you, I think you want to maybe even be able to have different ways in which you would like to apply this experience or this energy that you have maybe accumulated to this point with the Nine of Pentacles. Some of you maybe want to start your own brand. Ooh, we had one land on the fourth stack. You might want to go check out that stack as well if you feel guided. Some of you have saved a lot and you're thinking about where you like to invest this now. We have one of these guys landing on a latte art. For whatever reason, your social life is a big question here. Maybe, for example, you're interested in a certain industry, but you don't want to so-called return to that space, maybe because of a number of reasons, maybe the habits in that space, the state of mind in that space, you know, so maybe even the culture of that community or that industry. Let's call it that even that government agency, I don't know, that building even, I hear that. So I see you're like worried. It's like, I don't want to just also repeat what I've been doing. I do get though that there is something you're pretty concerned about here. Like it comes down to like your personal life, maybe your personal assets. You don't want it to maybe be so public. This is for some of you. Let's clear it. Like you're thinking, how can I have autonomy but still do what I want to do, but in a creative way? I hear that. Let's clear it. Some of you are maybe thinking of like actually where you'd like to live. Some of you are truly like well known and you're famous on social media. This is for some of you. I'm seeing this. I think that you are considering partnering up or collaborating with somebody else. You are wondering though, how that would affect your sense of independence and your creative energy. I feel like you're a very particular person, a very particular type of person where you have really strong interests, and then there are things that you're absolutely not interested in, and so you're wondering like, would that be compatible? Like if I were to be in this space, like would that work out? I think some of you don't want to get into a creative rut, or you don't want to feel like something is detracting from something else in your life. If that makes sense. Like, if you were to pursue one thing, would that then cramp on your style or your space, your independence? I'm smelling perfume here. I think you're really thinking about your lifestyle and how you can really, let's clear. You're thinking about your lifestyle and how you can really be creative, continue to be social, but not feel obligated to be social all the time even. This is what I'm hearing. Yeah, like maybe you're like, well, I want to be here, but I don't want to share like all of my life with this person. Maybe you're wondering if you should literally join a partnership with somebody when it comes to your career, your work. Like, I see you thinking about the effects, and maybe it is like habits even. I think you also would like to avoid arguments, like, and maybe it's, for example, that you have a certain industry you're interested in, or even a group of people, but it's like, you know that should you join that group traditionally, I don't know what that means. What does it mean to join a group? But like, if you were to, for some of you, this is related to music, the music industry. I'm getting that just really strongly. One of these little guys landed on Alexa, which looks like a little musical instrument on the 4th stack. So it's like you would love to have. I'm gonna make like an example. Like, you would love to have a relationship, but without the drama of the relationship, if that makes sense. Like, you would love to be with these people or in this space, but just like without the drama that comes along with it. So. Yeah, I feel some of you, maybe you want to have just like a okay, if we were to come down to a factor, I think it's about your environment, your friends, your family, what your house, your home, your environment looks like. There are things that you feel you need to kind of have even restriction with, or you want certain things in your environment that are absolutes for you. So like, like, okay, so maybe process of elimination might be helpful. Like, if you are actually even choosing like a place to live, a place to move to, a place to be at. For example, like, let's say that you're a vegan, okay, and you're thinking of like moving to somewhere. It's like, well, I love that place, but like, they don't have any good vegan options, something like that. Or they don't have any really good, like, there's no mentality around that in that space. Like, people don't think like that. So maybe you're just thinking like, what's a good influence? Even I'm hearing it like this. It's clear. Some of you are also on the verge of transforming something here. So you're moving completely out of one lifestyle and into another. And you're thinking, if you were to make that lifestyle change, how would that affect then your creative work? Let's clear it. But there is something here with your assets, and I am kind of curious about that. Like, some of you maybe like you want to change industry, but you're wondering if that's going to be detrimental. Like, let's say you are a social media influencer in a certain area. Maybe you want to get into like another industry, but the audiences are almost like the audiences are different. You're thinking, how can I combine them? Let's clear it. I feel some of you possibly you want to take a vacation. Okay, so we have one landing on El Gluten. Some of you, okay, I feel like you want to take a break from something here to be able to almost gather your sense of connection to what you're doing in terms of prioritization, because I get that you have a lot going on. Maybe you've literally, like, you have a lot of options. You can seriously, like, you can move in many different directions. You have some freedom at that, but that's sometimes a plaguing factor, right? It's like, I think that you have to question, what is my absolute priority? And so maybe, for example, you have creative interests, but then you also have other things in your life that are important to you. So maybe kind of meditate and see what you come down to when it comes to that. Let's see here. Just a few more cards I'd like to get on the 9 of Pentacles. Spirit, some advice here. Yeah, some of you are a performer. I honestly truly feel for some of you that you are exhausted, that you feel that you need to know why you're doing what you're doing, because you might be on the verge of burnout here a little bit for some of you. For some of you, I'm also getting, though, that there are factors here in relation to what it is. I'm seeing a banana here. I don't know. You take it as you will. Maybe you want to actually focus on your health. This is obviously, you have to talk to your personal practitioner, but you might want to look at magnesium. For some of you, you're trying to maybe balance like your life with your lifestyle, like your visions, your platform, your work, your public life with, but just even like you with you. I mean, I think you have a lot of personal alone time, but it's more like the general sort of consensus of what you're creating in your life. How does that balance with the other factors of even you and your personality and maybe your values? Like maybe you want to focus more on your health for some of you. With the Magician, the Four of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, the Nine of Cups, the Three. Yeah, some of you feel like you're getting kind of you're very maybe popular for some of you. Even I see that. I'm looking at the background of this card on the Four of Pentacles. Like I've never seen it like this, but it looks like the skyline of New York. Like for some of you, I feel like you are in a certain lifestyle and you got a rhythm here going, and you've got the Magician again. We did say Sagittarius energy, and you've got another 9. The 9, you've got the 3 times 3, 9. You've got a lot of Jupiter energy here going on. I feel like some of you are feeling like you know intuitively that there is something you want to balance that space with when it comes to sort of boundaries, even when it comes maybe to your lifestyle with the Four of Pentacles, your health, actually, for some of you. Let's clear it. But I think that it's a matter of you, being very kind of clear and direct with that, saying, hey, I need to make that choice. I need to make that change. I'm going to be honest. I feel some of you are pretty much on a path here. Like you are maybe very successful to this point. You've really created something for yourself. For some of you, you are definitely in the limelight, and there are a lot of factors here. There is a lot of pressure. You do want to make sure that you're not sabotaging what you've created, and that you're also not being stagnant, right? Like you don't want to abandon what so there is a question here of, let's clear it. Some of you might really do well with a vacation. I'm getting this, like a break from not like the type of, wow, I'm just gonna, just gonna sit here and but like a break from everything almost, like the place I'm at, the things I'm eating, the things I'm thinking, the people I'm talking to, something of that nature, like the ideas that I'm working on. Let's clear it. Even if you do have some projects here on the burner, maybe kind of just like step away from that for a minute and be like, okay, what am I gonna do that's completely different, just to kind of get your sense of self back, because I get as well that you have a lot of pressure on you socially, and that is seriously sort of encroaching on indirectly. I don't see it's directly, indirectly encroaching on what it, and you've maybe agreed to these things, that's a part of this, but like indirectly encroaching on what it is that you feel you're able to think about for yourself. Let's clear it. Some of you are a fashion designer. Yeah, you're a fashion designer. Some of you here are a homemaker or something. I'm here, letter V. I feel you have a big next step here. I feel that you want to take a little bit of a break before you fully pursue it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Love and light to you. We'll see you in the next videos. Bye guys. See you later. Bye.